have different stages of development. And here we have one flat model that we're going to look at. It shows some of the earliest stages. This is a sperm cell. And we have the head that contains digestive enzymes and 23 chromosomes. We have the mid piece that contains a lot of mitochondria, and the flagellum, which beats back and forth like a whip and propels the sperm along. And this shows a secondary oocyte shortly after ovulation. This is the nucleus of the secondary oocyte containing 23 chromosomes. And this is a sperm cell that is penetrated. Shortly after the sperm cell penetrates the secondary oocyte, it finishes meiosis and becomes a short-lived ovum. And I told you wrong earlier. I said this was a nucleus. Is actually a polar body. Here's a nucleus. After the sperm cell penetrates the egg cell, it finishes meiosis 2 and becomes a short-lived ovum. And the ovum produces a second polar body. And then one of these is the nucleus of the sperm cell. The other one is the nucleus of the secondary oocyte, or ovum. And then these nuclei fuse together, and you get a zygote. And the zygote starts undergoing mitosis. And this is showing mitosis. And this is a 1-cell stage or zygote. Turns into a 2-cell stage. This is about an 8-cell stage. This is a morula or solid ball of cells. And these two are an earlier and later stage of the blastula or blastocyst. And a blastocyst consists of some different parts. This hollow space in the middle is called the blastocele, and it's surrounded by cells called the trophoblast. Those turn into different embryonic layers later. And then we have this layer of cells in here. They're kind of yellow. That's the embryoblast. It's going to turn into parts of the embryo and some other embryonic tissues. And this model shows different views of the same thing we just talked about. There's the secondary oocyte that's been released during ovulation. Sperm cells are fertilizing that secondary oocyte. And then it becomes a single cell stage. It's still surrounded by some follicle cells. And the single cell stage is also called a zygote. And then you got a 2-cell stage, 4-cell stage, a solid ball of cells called a morula. And then by about this time, it becomes a blastula or blastocyst that will attach to the endometrium of the uterus. And again, different views of the same thing. Secondary oocyte is being fertilized, becomes an ovum with sperm and an egg nucleus, 2-cell stage, 4-cell stage, solid ball of cells, and there's a morula. And more views of the same thing. Single cell stage, 2-cell stage, 4-cell stage, solid ball of cells called the morula, and hollow ball of cells called the blastula or blastocyst.